dans peu de temps. Là, on va voir ce que ça va donner aujourd'hui. Et voilà, donc bravo, bravo à la France d'être un petit peu novateur sur le retour.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome for the very first time ever to the Para-Alpine Snowfer. I'm Stephen Jameson, joined by GB's Menna Fitzpatrick for the first time for the team events here on the Para-Alpine World Cup circuit. We're here in beautiful Morzine for the World Cup finals, and Menna, we've never had a team event before. We are so excited to watch this. There's a brilliant atmosphere building at the bottom of the slope. This is so exciting, right?
Yeah, definitely, and to have a new event coming on onto the World Cup circuit is going to be awesome, and to find out what the guys can do even better, and yeah, it's just going to be a whole load of fun.
And it really, it totally differentiates what Para-Alpine's about. It's such an individual event. You're focusing solely on times. You're not racing anyone directly next to you. This is totally different. It's first past the post. Does that change the mindset of a skier?
I think it will, definitely. When you're racing against someone right next to you, you get that extra hunger to get to the finish line, and yeah, you see the person next to you and you go, go on, you can do it. And then yeah, it's a lot nicer for the audience to watch. It's clearer to understand, so I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we should have a lot of fun here tonight. We cannot wait for this one. And don't worry, we've got one half of Menna and Jen. We've also got the other. She is with our commentator for the evening. Good evening, guys. Alan and Jen.
Thank you very much to Stephen. We'll bring the other half of the dynamic duo in just a couple of moments. Let me set the scene for you. We are here in Morzine. Tomorrow starts the final two individual competitions of the 2018-19 World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup. But as the guys on the Snowfer, as we've called it, have been saying, this is all something very, very different. Look at the people gathering at the bottom to watch on. This is the sort of crowd that Parasport is envious of normally. And here they are watching intently. They've seen all the qualifying. We've lost the Swiss second team. We had 9. We had to get qualification done. We're down to 8. It's not too cold down there. So alongside me, as you see the forerunners coming down, Jen Kehoe, you're normally out there. How excited are you to be in here?
Hello Alan, hello everyone. It's brilliant to be here alongside you. It's brilliant to be at the team event, one exciting event. The atmosphere is electric actually, even up here from the commentary.
Just look at the reaction to the forerunners from the French. The spectators are loving it already.
They are, and the guy commentating on the down on the snow has actually done a really good job of geeing everyone up. So.
What a wonderful place Morzine is as well. I think, in my understanding is this is the first time that Para-Alpine has been here. It looks fantastic, and it's going to sound fantastic with all these people here as well. Come back to you in a second. All the teams are in. They had to qualify, which means that the fastest of the lot of them were Team France. They will go against Japan. Norway will go against Switzerland 1. USA will go against Team Nordic. Team South will go against Team France. You'll notice that we've got 2 Paralympic flags on your screen. Team Nordic, made up of Igor Sikorsky, Aron Lindström and Santeri Kiveri. That's Poland, Sweden and Finland for your information. Team South, I'm at a loss to how they've managed to get to that team name. Juraj Slivnik of Slovenia and Rene Di Silvestro and Davide Bendotti of Italy. Team South, I have no idea. I know they're close on the border. Both of the places that we visited this season, the last World Championships have been held in both Slovenia and Italy, so maybe there's a little connection there. Clearly, they've made friends enough. Now, how good is this lady here, Marie Bochet?
Marie Bochet, superstar. I mean, she won the qualifying, I believe. She is a top skier and a lovely, lovely girl.
Like watching a genuine wizard.
Yes, you know, she trains so hard, so it's brilliant to see her efforts rewarded.
If you're Ami Hondo, normally you're used to kind of either starting before or after somebody, and you know you've got a hard task because Marie Bochet said, what's she feeling like now looking across going, oh my goodness,
Well, so going out first is actually something that Mena and I are really comfortable with. We're often bib number one. So I imagine these two are feeling a bit of nerves, not least because it's a new event. Your heart's racing and you're kind of focusing on that first gate, trying to get the first turn in really cleanly to give you a start down the race course.
Now, just to be clear to everybody who's tuning in to what, this is brand new. This is nothing that's been done before on the Alpine circuit. Yes, able-bodied athletes have been doing this a little while. There are relay events, of course, in other sports. However, for Alpine, Para-Alpine, this is the first. So not only for the athletes, but everybody behind the scenes as well. You've seen nervy faces today.
Yeah.
People like, oh, I hope the gate opens. I hope the course is set properly. Does the timing system work? Everybody behind the scenes has worked very, very hard to try and give these Alpine skiers a sense of what other sports are already doing and bringing us into line.
Yep, and it's going to be brilliant. Mena mentioned it just down on the Snowfer, the atmosphere that's going to be created when athletes go head to head. It's really exciting, and the gates are going to go out down at slightly different times just for the factoring. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Marie deals with that when she's actually chasing down Hondo from Japan.
So Ami Hondo on the right-hand side, Bochet, who's been cheered even during training runs today with people at the bottom.
Alan, just draw your attention to the heart that's on Marie's head. That's actually a link to the French able-bodied team, David Poisson, who died, I think, 18 months ago in a downhill crash. And that is testament to how close the French Federation is in both the handy sport and the able-bodied sport.
A lot of love across all aspects of the sport. World Paralympic Skiing's World Cup has been great to watch. We've had a fair few surprises. We can dabble in your category if you like. Veronica Eigner has kind of come from nowhere, and we're all paying attention now, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. So we raced alongside, not against, the Eigner sisters about 3 years ago, and they were racing in the juniors. Veronica's very young, and so it's absolutely brilliant to have her now on the World Cup circuit.
So the first race of the inaugural team event at any Para-Alpine event, and this lady has got to catch Ami Hondo on the right hand side. So there you go, it's quarterfinal one, Team Japan with Ami Hondo. The bib numbers kind of irrelevant. Team Japan on the right hand side of your screen as you look at it, Team France on the left as you look at it. You win one, you get a little green dot at the bottom of your screen. You get two of those green dots and you are through to the next round. They're getting them ready at the top. My understanding is that they are ready. So we're just at a brief pause for now. We're going to try not to go away too far, because once those gates fly open, it's about the action. The red lights flash, the warning lights, and away they go then. Ami Hondo on the right hand side in a straight race with Marie Bochet. Both of these have a factor of 100%. Both of them are impaired on their left side. And can Hondo keep pace with the great Bochet? 18 or 19 World Championship golds. It's easy for Bochet. Hondo with a fall towards the end. And, well, she shakes her head. And I think she's hurt her arm as well in that one. So those two get to the bottom. And Hondo does seem a little bit of distress at the bottom there. So that was the first quarter final. That was about as exciting as we thought it was going to be.
Oh, it was brilliant. You look at how dynamic Marie Bochet is on those skis, and she was just powering ahead, but so unfortunate for Ami Hondo there just to get caught up right at the end.
Next up is Norway versus Switzerland. Minimum team numbers was 2. Well, that's lucky for Norway, because they only had 2 athletes on the entire World Cup tour. So Jesper Pedersen is the one that they're hoping carries them through. They've got Marcus Nilsson Rasto as well. He's very young, but I say that, Jesper Pedersen's not 20 yet either. So here we go then. Norway versus Switzerland 1. The time factors mean that Norway will get off quickest. Pedersen He is brave in that sit ski, doesn't leave anything out there. And it's now down to Theo Rimeur, an absolute beast in the men's standing. He and Boucher are the ones that argue the most, but Pedersen, he's doing everything he can. Norway to the line, they've got one, you know. Well, that might go down as a bit of a surprise. Theo Rimeur has had a good season, a world and Paralympic champion, and Pedersen has done him here in Morzine.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Pedersen's had such a strong season, and he can really move that sit ski around, especially on the short slalom turns. It's brilliant to see.
Well, the blue run at the moment is looking favourable. People were complaining earlier. They were saying, oh, you know, all the qualifying's being done on the left side. It's quick.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, as it's a test event, it's hard to say, but there sometimes is a little bit of a preferable run. Usually the course setters spend a lot of time lining up the gates and making sure that they are equal, but you can't account for the slope. There might be a slight advantage on one course.
So Thomas Walsh on the left side for Team USA, Team Nordic on the right side. Igor Sikorsky, again, another Paralympic medalist and World Championship medalist this year as well. A bronze to show for his efforts during the time in Kranjska Gora and Selanever earlier on in the year. Thomas Walsh is a fantastic character on and off the mountain.
Yeah, he's well liked, well known, great skier, and it's brilliant to see him getting some good results this year.
It was good to see him finish the last couple of races in La Molina. He was getting fed up of beating up the snow with his poles over a couple of days. So again,
it's really interesting psychology for the guys going in front, because they can probably hear the skier coming up, and whether that makes you go faster, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Poland representing Team Nordic. He's got Sweden and Finland for company. USA, I spoke to Thomas Walsh about this yesterday. He said, we're coming to rip it up, we're coming to win it, we're coming to do the whole thing. And he's already going to catch and pass Sikorsky. Walsh looking good, and it's another win on the blue course, and it's another win for the standing athletes. Last time out, Pedersen had the best with the sit ski, not so much this time for Sikorsky, who looks back up the mountain. He just looks great under the lights as well, doesn't it? That's even more impact doing it in the evening.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, as you said, the crowds have come out, everybody's gathered after their day's skiing. It really does create a good atmosphere. And it just looked, again, Thomas had that dynamic skiing, just propelling him down the slope, really quick on and off his edges.
One more first run of quarterfinals. So we've got France 2 on the left-hand side, on the blue side. The Team South, again, we'll leave the name decisions to someone else clearly. On the right-hand side, Vide Bendotti, single leg skier from Italy on the right-hand side. And, well, our first look at VI skier now. Carnage all over here. Bendotti has fallen, but they're telling him to get back up because Delaplace as well has fallen too. He's being guided down by Maxime Jourdain, but well, Delaplace from France went down. Bendotti, as we've seen in the World Cup this season, went down at the very first gate. He did that in La Molina only a few days ago. Team France number 2 take a win of the canter in the end. Bendotti doing everything to get to the line and just raises his arms to the side. You know, sometimes it's just not your day, is it?
No, and it's so tough for the guys who are three-tracking. You know, they've got one leg, and that's quite a swinging course. There's a lot of movement required, and it's just so hard to get the pressure and movement on one leg. But he does it.
Camaraderie between the two of them as well.
Yeah.
You guys live in a bubble, don't you, really? At the end of the day, you tour together, you're always kind of in the same hotels, you're at the same venues, obviously, so you do get to know each other really well.
Yeah, we're a really tight tour. As I say, the coaches have a really good relationship, the athletes get on pretty well. There's a lot of international camaraderie, which is brilliant, because, you know, you spend 7 months on the tour, you need to get on with the people you're around you.
Okay, so Team France are 1-0 up. There we go. So Team France 1-0 up. This is Kohei Takahashi on the left side on the blue course, and a bit like Ami Kondo, he must have looked across and gone, oh, not after Bauchet again.
Yeah.
I've had enough of him all season. And Bauchet is doing okay. I tell you what, the young Takahashi though, he's only 18. Oh, he was keeping good pace, and he's just frustratedly stabbed the pole into the ground. I tell you what, I don't think anybody expected him to be that close to Bauchet.
Definitely not. He was skiing really well, right on the edges, really getting the skis moving and creating speed. It was so close. He'll be gutted with that.
Another of our, we've got a good crop of 16, 17, 18-year-old athletes at the moment. And it's always kind of the same. After Paralympic Games, you get that next cycle. We have retirements, we have new names. Takahashi, he makes no bones about the fact that he is skiing right now with Beijing in mind. Not the next Worlds, not the next World Cup, with Beijing in mind. I tell you what, if he can keep doing that, that was all right. He was so close to Bauchet.
That was brilliant. I mean, Arthur Bauchet has had such a strong season this year that to be skiing that close to him, he'll be really pleased with that.
Okay, so Team Norway have the advantage going into the second run. I looked at these earlier on, and this was the one that I couldn't quite call because of Jesper Pedersen being as good as he is. I wasn't sure. I know going up against Gemur was going to be difficult. So in this one, it's Thomas Field on the left-hand side, impairment in his right arm, as you can see from Marcus Nilsson Grasto. No ski poles at all for him. He's just 18 as well. In fact, he's just 17, is Marcus. But it looks like Thomas Field here is going to have the best of the second run. So we're all square, and that's just what I was thinking early doors. That was quite comfortable.
Yes, it was. Thomas has been on the Swiss team for quite a while, and he's, again, had a good season. He skied that really strongly. So that's a great one for Team Switzerland.
Talked about earlier on not leaving anything out when you go for a run. This guy he's massively in that category. Himself, people like Mitch Gawley, you know there's going to be either a fantastic run or carnage, and Andrew Kirker fits in that bracket, doesn't he?
We saw it a little bit in the qualifying. Andrew Kirker went out, all out. Team America, they come to rip it up, and he absolutely did. The angles he can get on his ski and how he can make that move for such, it's a really heavy thing, a sit ski, and he can really make it move. It's impressive to watch.
Aaron Lindstrom finished his time on the slalom courses of La Molina with a couple of podiums. He also drop-kicked one of the gates in the giant slalom as well. Such was the effort to get across the line. However, he is proving, the 18-year-old, that he also is a name to watch out for. Andrew Kirker will be quick. The time factor allows him to go first, but he is up against a young man that he was desperate to try and close him down. He's missed the gate, and Lindstrom, well, as much as he'll try and climb back up just in case Kirker takes a tumble, no, Lindstrom has decided that's enough. So Kirker, now he has fallen. Will he get across the line? Yes, he will. Oh, I tell you what, Lindstrom might have regretted giving up climbing up the hill at one point. Oh, we are getting everything that was advertised.
Absolutely. That was so much excitement coming from Kirker. He had two bits where he was airborne down the bottom, just some ruts are starting to develop around some of the gates.
Hashtag vintage Kirker.
Vintage Kirker,
that is
absolutely.
Vintage Kirker.
And then saves it just before the line, gets back up there and
scraping
goes.
himself across the line in the end. So
all or nothing.
2-0 for the USA, which means we move on to the second of our Team South versus France 2. Thomas Savard, another of our VI skiers, will go against Di Silvestro.
And it's interesting, so the two VI pairs have decided to start slightly differently. For these guys, they're starting next to them at the top. The other French team were just ahead.
Di Silvestro for Italy on the left-hand side, or for Team South on this occasion. Also another that's putting some very impressive performances as of late. And he hold off. He's fractionally ahead. I can tell you that from outside of our window. Oh no, he's just gone a little wide. This will be the tightest of the line. He's took it, you know. Oh, the Italian. The final two gates for the decider. With 4 to go, he went a little wide, and Savard was still in. A slip up from Savard, and it allowed the Italian to take it for the Team South. That's the closest we've had.
That really is. What a finish. And you thought for a second that perhaps the French duo would take it, but as you say, that little mistake at the bottom, and you can't take it too straight. Those last gates, you think it looks like you can go quite straight, but actually there is still a bit of a turn on them.
That means that 2 of our quarterfinals are still all to play for. It's 1-1 with Norway and Switzerland 1. It's 1-1 with France 2 versus Team South. This first one, this is the dead rubber of the 3. So all about pride. Akira Kano against Manuel Bodanks. Bodanks suffered a snapped prosthetic during La Mole. I'd not seen that one before, and I asked him all about it, and he said, yeah, just shorn off at my ankle. I said, what were you thinking? He said, I just looked down and thought, where's my foot? You know?
Well, that's
and he went past him as well on the ski, which was made it even more comical.
One of the funny things of the tour, that you do get some unusual things happening. Legs snapping and legs being left lying around is quite a regular sight.
If you're involved in parasport, it becomes quite normal after a while. You're sort of like
Yes.
numb to it. But every now and again, you still see something brand new. So Bodanks will chase Akira Kano, 32 years of age. Kano, plenty of world and Paralympic success over his time. Bodanks is chasing hard though. One thing but Bodanks has tried to rid from his game is mistakes. This is effortless, flawless, and brilliant. It's a 3-0 victory for the France 1 team. You have to fancy that team, don't you? The strength that they've got there. Putting Bodanks third is a masterstroke each time, because you've got 2 very, very good ones at the beginning with Bochet and Balchet. But Bodanks has proven that he can compete with the rest of them as well.
Yeah, and he was powering those skis brilliantly. It's not easy when you've only got, you can't actually feel what's going on at the bottom of your foot, so you can't really control very easily the ski that's got the prosthetic leg.
You've got no sense of the pressure you're putting on or what's underneath you. Is there a rut coming?
That sensation that you need to roll onto your big toe, little toe, for those of you who are skiers. You just don't have that in the prosthetic leg, so it's really difficult, and he did that so well.
Well, let's set up the first of our deciding runs. This is 1 apiece, as Jen is family spotting in the crowd. Her brother is here watching, and the dog's name?
Yeah, dog Samson.
There you go.
Both brothers.
At the gate then, 1 apiece. Jesper Pedersen is back. He gets to go out first. Team Switzerland have Robin Kusch, nephew of the great Didier Kusch, medal winner in Nagano a few moons ago. We were only young, weren't we?
Exactly.
Pedersen is looking good here. Must be tired from a first run already. He's the person that's going twice in this one. He's getting caught. Oh, Pedersen! I don't know whether he looked behind him or not, but all of a sudden Kusch just started to eat away at the lead. But he held on.
He did.
Victory for Norway.
Robin looked a little bit sluggish at the top of the run, but he really picked it up towards the bottom and accelerated. And I think possibly Jesper Pedersen would be a little bit surprised at how quickly he came up on him towards the bottom.
Well, can't fault Kusch for his effort. You can't fault the people who have come out here in Morzine. They might be on holiday, they might even live here. It's fairly big around these parts, but they certainly have come to the bottom of the hill to try and watch maybe a sport they've never ever seen. Some people, when you speak to them, they've never even contemplated that people with 1 arm or no legs or no eyesight have ever tried to ski, now let alone the fact that there are world competitions. Kevin Burton falls into a category of the VIs, the vision impaired athletes, a former linguist for the US Navy, and he will go first. Kurt Grimmelman, his guide, he's had to change guide a few times in the last 18 months. He's had 3, I think, off the top of my head over the last 18 months or so. So hard for Burton to keep those trust levels up. Coming for him is a man that looks in great form. Santeri Kiveri has been podium in placing in the World Cup, and he's flying. Oh, well, he called him the Flying Finn, and that is exactly why. So it's 2-1 to USA. Nordic getting one in the end, so out they go. So again, putting the big guys up top really helps you, doesn't it? Walsh and Kirker doing the business, so out go Nordic, despite having 3 very good individual skiers.
Very talented.
That was a tough draw for them.
It really was, and you know the teams, the big teams are here to win it, so they're going to load the teams, and that's exactly what France and USA have done.
Okay, so this is the one that will decide. Once again, one of our quarterfinals. 2 have been 3-0. We've had Norway go through in a good 2-1 victory over Switzerland, Team 1. This is France, Team 2, against Team South. Jone Slivnik from Slovenia on the right-hand side, representing Team South. He has got to come up with, I think, the performance of his life here to stop Jordan Brossan from taking his place. Brossan, another of those that is capable of a big slide out when it comes to men's standing, but he is catching Slivnik.
He is. He's, again, a brilliant skier. Another one who's a stand-up skier with a prosthetic, so tricky to pressure that leg, but he skied that brilliantly.
Yeah, he's across the line nice and easy. Slivnik still learning his trade. He's been absolutely delighted to be able to ski in Kranjska Gora, his hometown, if you like, when it comes to where he trains. Having had a World Cup there last year, part of the World Championships this year, people came out in force to watch Jone Slivnik as well. This is how easy it was for Brossan towards the end. Raises his arms, he has time to look behind him, and still the Slovenian hasn't quite made it to the line. So a few preparations being done on the course. You can see the lights starting to illuminate the course more and more. We have an advantage on the left to the right because the lights are so close on that side.
It's hard to say. It might give the visually impaired guys a slight advantage because the light might be slightly brighter. Equally, for some people, that might be a hindrance. So it's hard to say. I think hopefully it'll be fairly even for everybody.
First time we've ever watched that. What were your thoughts there?
I think it's fantastic.
I'm sat here on the edge of my seat. I want to go and race. Mena, get your boots.
I was going to say, next time this comes up, there's no way Great Britain are saying no, is there?
No.
Not even if you have to get John, your coach, to put on a set of skis.
I don't think you'll have to persuade him too much.
Happy birthday to John yesterday as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
I'm not going to give his age, shall we?
No, that's good. You said it, not me.
I did. It's not just about the skiers out there, is it? There is such a team behind the team. In your case, there's already a team. You know, Mena puts her trust in you, but you both put your trust in everybody else around you on that tour.
Exactly. We have 2 coaches at Ski Tech, and normally physio out with us, and those are the people who make sure that we are race ready on a day-to-day basis, and they work long hours, hard for us, and you know, we're not the only team that do that. A lot of teams have that support, so it's brilliant to see the professionalism that we have got behind the scenes in para-alpine sport.
And it's not a sport without its injuries as well. It's interesting that when you read a lot of the athletes' biographies, quite a lot of athletes have their impairment because of skiing accidents in the first instance. What they want to do is get back with their prosthetic or get in a mono ski and go and do it again because they had that buzz, and they don't want that impairment to stop them from ever having that buzz, so they're going back out there and doing it. But you yourself, you've been injured before a major event. You obviously missed Sochi with Millie.
That's right.
How hard is that to sit on the sidelines and watch? It's not a soft sport, is it? At the end of the day, if you fall over at the speed you guys are going, you're going to get hurt every now and again. How hard is it to sit on the sidelines?
It's Sochi was really hard to sit and watch, you know, when you should have been competing. And I was fortunate to go to Sochi. But actually coming through the recovery process, the physical side of I ruptured my ACL. That was a 6-month physical rehabilitation process, but then the mental side of coming back from injury, to go and throw yourself back down the same ski runs that you injured yourself in the first place is actually quite a battle. And so I've had it. Mena and I had to go through that experience before the World Championships in 2017 when we were recovering. Mena broke her hand and we had to recover very quickly to get back up and on the ski slope ready for the World Champs, which we just about did. No, we did. It was a battle, though, you know.
Well, we're hoping for no serious injuries in this one. We've saw Ami Hondo sort of leave looking like she was in a little bit of pain. Okay, right. So we're down to France 1. They went through. We're down to Norway. They went through. USA looked very good as well. They went through, and France 2 overcame the team from the south. So that is where we are at the moment. I believe Menna and Stephen Jameson are down on their snowfer having a chat. Let's go over to them and see what they've got to say.
Well, wasn't that the most fun ever? Alan, Jen, I know you're having a brilliant time up there. We are really enjoying it down here as well. Steve Jason, Menna Fitzpatrick. Near the finish line, we're in the hubbub, we're in the atmosphere. Menna, this has been awesome. This is exactly what we hoped it would be for, right?
Definitely. To have the teams going head to head is one of the most exciting things for people to see and watch, and it's so close between quite a few of the competition. There has been a couple of crashes, but that adds to the fun.
Of course it does. And the thing is about these crashes, we were discussing it off air, weren't we, that when you have a skier in your eye line that you can see that you're chasing down or is overtaking you, that must play a little factor in the back of your mind that maybe makes you try something you maybe otherwise wouldn't try and causes crashes, right?
Yeah, so you're going as hard as you can anyway, but to see your competitor just slightly ahead of you, it gives you an extra bit of energy and adrenaline to push you on even more, and you just go out there and try just even harder. Even if you're going 100%, you'd be going 110, and that's when things can go wrong and the pressure gets you sometimes, and yeah, things can go wrong in ski racing anyway, but yeah, this is just one of those things and it's great fun to be a part of.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit about how you guys train. Is this something you've ever experienced? I know obviously you're not out there tonight, but have you ever, for fun in training, taken each other down a slalom course or anything like that? Do skiers have any idea what this is like until tonight?
So I've actually done a bit of dual slalom in the Chill Factor Indoors Centre in Manchester. Good old Carl Riding likes to do a bit of fun with the races, and yeah, it's great fun and everyone enjoys it, and you're racing against your friends and competitors, and yeah, there's a whole really good high atmosphere between everyone really.
And let's talk a little bit about some of the races that we've watched. My personal favourite was Jesper Pedersen against Theo Gamur. It almost has an air of like an all-star fixture because you've got the very best from the different classes going head to head, and we will never see that. You know, we will never have that otherwise apart from this.
No, it's one of the first ones where you actually see them head to head, and yeah, you can compare times, but that's not the same as watching them two together. And yeah, both of them are amazing skiers and can really push it on their day, and to have them pushing as hard as they can do, and yeah, it was amazing for it to be that close.
And you're rooting for all the VI skiers, I know. How challenging is this for a VI skier? Because the course is so short, and that must make it difficult.
Yeah, I think just even the start gate, because it's completely different. In a race, you start together, but side by side, and the guide goes 3, 2, 1, and you go. Where on this one, the guide can't really predict when the gate goes down. The VI has to feel the gate go down, and then the guide has to go straight away, and so that the whole setup's slightly different. And then you can also hear the racer on the course next to you, so that even pushes you on even more, or it could be a distraction for some people. So you kind of got to put that out of your mind and just go as hard as you can, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, yeah. It's
that old cliche, you got to race your own race. Look, we've had a brilliant time down here. From me and Menna, it's back to Alan and Jen. Guys, if the quarters are anything to go by, these semis are going to be brilliant. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much to Steve and James. I can't believe they haven't got a hot drink in their hands. I thought exactly that was going to happen. They were going to go to them and they were enjoying a hot chocolate together.
Sat there looking smug with their hot drinks. No, they do look very comfortable on the snowfer though.
Yeah. Good friends. You guys obviously, you're used to winning races throughout not only just this World Cup campaign, but obviously the last couple of years as well. So you obviously get a chance to be interviewed by whatever host is there. It's not easy the first few times, though, is it? We saw Victoria and the Agnes sisters getting interviewed, and there was just that little, what do I say? What do I do? It's another element of the sport you've got to learn, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's something that we've been learning quite rapidly. we definitely fell into the deep end and have had to build that up. But the more you do, the more practice you get, and the better you become at it. And hopefully we're not doing too bad a job.
There's Arthur Balchet giving a bit of a wave. Well, we can't be ready to start because they're at the bottom end of the course at the moment. They're just milling around. So 18:50 is what I'm told. So that's somewhere around about 5 or 6 minutes away. You had some. Not only was Menna Fitzpatrick being interviewed on the sofa, there were some other people that you knew quite well down there as well, wasn't it?
Yes, my partner and dog were loitering by the sofa. I think the dog is very good at getting TV time. He's been featured in a TV link for Crufts with Claire Balding before the Paralympics.
Oh, you name dropper, you.
Oh, well, she's a legend.
She certainly is. Now, we were just saying off air there that this is very much different. I think Menna was trying to touch upon it as well. When you stand at the top of a course, you've done your assessments of it. You've got all the instructions from the coaches for these parts and that part, and obviously it's longer as well. So you stick to that game plan, and you really don't deviate unless there's an issue further on, and you've really got to dig deep. But you go as quick as you can in that exact game plan. That doesn't work here, does it? Because if you look across and the guy or the woman you're racing against is ahead, game plan kind of means nothing at that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a different strategy. I think, as you say, the traditional slalom is you learn the course and you know where you're supposed to be going, what moves you're supposed to make, what order the gates come. This is, put simply, left, right. But I think that people will get a sense of a red mist coming over when they can see or see that person in front of them or hear that person in front of them, and that desire to win is going to come upon you quickly. Just you want to chase them down the hill.
Yeah, we saw Jesper Pedersen kind of coasting to the line in his second race, but he had Kuss right behind him, and I don't think he really knew. And obviously, Kuss was probably thinking, I can get this. And again,
Absolutely.
There's no game plan to that. It's just go.
Go, yeah. It's raw emotion, and I think that's what's so exciting about the team event. It brings the best of the best skiing alongside each other, and in different classes, so you can compare compare different categories against different categories, and really it showcases Paralpine sport brilliantly.
Yeah, we were just saying this is in the best lights, under the floodlights as well. Now I believe that Stephen Jameson has a little bit more to talk to us about. He's downstairs with Menna. Let's go down to the Snowfer.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Join us back on the Paralpine Snowfer, where I've been joined by a couple of guests, and we will get to Alana Ramsey, very famous, very good skier, in a minute. But Alana, I'm sure you appreciate there's more important issues here. We've got a dog with us. Menna, introduce us.
So this is Samson. He is Jen's dog, not my guide dog, by the way. He's a bit too lively for that. But yes, he's one of our mascots, and he is great fun.
Awesome. Now we have to take it a little bit seriously. Alana, it's so nice to have you with us. How much have you enjoyed watching this? This looks like the most fun event we've seen on the ski tour this year. It looks crazy. It looks like everything we hoped it'd be.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. It's really cool to see how everyone works together, and different nations built different teams, so it's really cool to see how the nations came together.
Is there a little part of you that wishes you were out there tonight?
There's a little bit of a part of me that wants to be out there, but I'm still recovering from that fall that I took in Sala, so unfortunately I don't have the stamina to do all the events right now.
But it's so lovely to see you back, period, because it's a pretty gnarly fall back up in Sala. How is the recovery going? It's so nice to see you back.
The recovery's going really well. I'm on my road to recovery. It's still going to be a long process, but we're heading there.
And in terms of a Canadian team, were we to have one, is this an event you'd definitely like to ski in if you had the opportunity? It does. The idea of yourself and Fred and the guys going, it seems like too much fun to turn down.
Oh yeah, definitely. If our team was out there, we'd definitely be having a lot of fun.
And you'd have a chance of winning, you think?
Oh, definitely. If Mac Merker were here, we'd definitely be a chance to win. We did an event like this in St. Moritz a couple of years ago, and we were racing for like trophies, and that was the only race that Mac was really looking forward to because it was a Viking helmet. I've never seen him race that hard, so we really rallied together as a Canadian team for these type of events.
And that's something that can't be understated as well, because skiing's such an individual sport. You're always focusing on yourself. You never really think about the team until something like this comes up, and it must be such a nice feeling to have, because you're all so close anyway around the hotels and stuff. To actually ski as a team is something really unique.
Yeah, it's really unique to see it all like this, especially since they do it on the able body side. It's really cool that they're incorporating it into the Paralympic side as well.
For sure. Alana, thank you so much for joining us. From me, Mena, Samson, Alana, I've got everyone in. Samson, you've been a star. Alan, Jen, it's back to you. Jen, he's amazing.
You've lost your dog. Stephen's an absolute pet lover. He's also got a bit of a penchant for mascots. So if you want to make Stephen Jameson laugh, show him a mascot doing something crazy.
I think he's after my job.
There is that as well. Yeah, that's probably not a million miles away from the truth. He like me last season. He took his very first ski lesson this year. It didn't go as disastrously as mine, but let's not talk about mine. So yeah, he's kind of got the bug. The teams are getting themselves ready. I can see sort of silhouettes of bodies in the start gate. So semi-finals, it's going to be France 1 versus Norway, USA versus France 2. At the beginning, I'm not going to show off here, I think it's France versus USA in the final.
I think that's highly likely.
And we're getting there. We're going to get there. The only one that kind of stopped me was I thought this Nordic team was quite good.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, there could be a surprise in there. Lindstrom's fall was the deal breaker in that one. But Kirkert, Walsh and Burton will go up against Delaplace, Savard and Brossan. But first up will be the first semi-final, which is France 1 versus Norway. Marie Bochet, Arthur Bauchet and Manuel Bodanks. Here is Marie Bochet.
But this is ski racing, and you never know what's going to happen. That's what makes it very exciting.
Just a point to see how good that Marie Bochet is. She's the only woman left in the competition now, and I'll tell you anything for nothing. Every one of the blokes that looks across is going to go, oh, why me?
Yeah.
First up to feel like that, Jesper Pedersen, but he knows she's good, but she will know he's good as well. Sitski versus standing. Pedersen is going to get the advantage. Oh, a little slip out of the gate. How costly will that be? Here goes the great Bochet. The chase is on. Pedersen on the right side for Team Norway. Bochet on the left side. Can the standing absolute enigma of a skier close down on Jesper Pedersen? This is looking good for Norway. Oh, a surprise. Look at Pedersen. Oh, yes. In her own backyard.
And Marie was going for it. You know, she will have known that in the start gate that she was going to have to work hard, because Pedersen is so quick when it comes to those slalom turns, and he just flew down that course.
Well, here's the moment. Look at Pedersen. Look at what it means to him. This might be the inaugural team event, but he is in it to win it.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, we were talking about that, the red mist coming down and wanting to race. I think that's what it, you know, it does mean a lot. Even though it is the first one, it's kind of a test event.
There's a sort of stunned look to the faces all of a sudden of the French spectators. Oh dear, oh dear. Right then.
Yeah.
So Markus Nilsson Glasto, the youngster for Norway, is going to go up against Team France's Arthur Bauchet. Now I'm a little confused. I thought they were going to switch sides here. Apparently not. So we're going as we are then. So on the right hand side, Arthur Bauchet. On the left hand side, Markus Nilsson Glasto. And they are just being made to wait a little bit. The nerves will be jangling, more so for Glasto. I'd imagine Bauchet will fancy this. A mistake, though, would be very, very costly. He just needs the win, and then he has to rely on Bodanks to try and get past Jesper Pedersen, who, I'll tell you now, looks very good out there.
He does. He's very strong, very confident coming down that slope and really working the ski well. This is going to be tough for Norway.
Bauchet should take this fairly comfortably. He's a Paralympic and world champion. He's destined to go on to great things, just like Muddy, you feel, and this is one apiece. So Grasto at the back of the two-man race. The French have got their flags flying once again.
And even though he was behind, Grasto was still going for it. He was smashing some flags out of the way. It was great to see how much enthusiasm and determination he's throwing down that course.
Well, for a lot of the youngsters as well, it's a chance to race on the course that they're going to slalom on tomorrow morning. Yeah. So, you know, it's you may as well go and use it, haven't you?
Exactly, test the snow out. And I mean, that's an important thing, particularly for the visually impaired, to get a feel for the snow. So these guys, the French guys, will have a slight advantage possibly over the rest of the visually impaired competitors racing tomorrow.
So USA in the background getting ready. Jesper Pedersen is still making his way up in the lift. That's how fast this event is going. So Pedersen being given the opportunity to get up there, which means we've got a slight delay. Andrew Kirker, who was going to join us in commentary, I think on day 2 of the slalom events. He's only going to do one of them, so he's going to join us on Thursday. It's hard to keep track of the actual day of the week when you're on a tour, isn't it?
Never ask a skier what day it is.
Day 3, that's kind of how you live your life.
Yeah, if it could be Monday, Friday, any day. No idea.
Well, he'll be joining us on the very last day of the World Cup circuit. It's hard on the body and the mind, isn't it? It's a long old tour.
It is a long old tour. This one particularly because we've had some long blocks of with only a little bit of training and lots of races, which just for everybody from athlete right through to coach and serviceman, it's really tough. But it's been fun. We're still here. We're still racing.
It's mentally tough as well. A lot of the guys, as you get older, obviously family and friends, you start to miss those more and more as you go away. And a lot of the guys I spoke to the Australian pair, and they were sort of saying, I'm going back to real life for a little while. Yeah. See what that's like.
That's true. In the summer, a lot of people have another job. They go back to their normal job, if you want to call it that. And so it is quite a surreal experience. I think you call it a bubble. It really, it can be like that at times. Especially when you've got family events going on that you're away for. Once you've been doing this for a few years, a lot of people have been on the circuit for 5, 6, 7 years and longer, and actually that does start to mount up. So I think everybody, when it comes to the last event of the season, we're all pretty excited and looking forward to getting back home and doing some normal things.
I'm sure Manuel Bordanks is excited, but I'm sure he's also twinning that with a little bit of apprehension and maybe even a bit of nerve as well, because he'll know that Jesper Pedersen has already beaten Madi Bochet. He has to beat Jesper Pedersen for the France 1 team to stay in the competition in front of a home crowd. That would have put a little bit of pressure on. He'll know that. Yeah. He absolutely knows that at the gate.
It definitely will, and it's a tough gig, but with the skiing that we saw in the first run, I fancy his chances.
Yeah,
if he can put another run like that down.
He overtook Kano quite easily, and Bordanks is getting himself set.
It's not easy for the sit skiers to actually get out that start gate either, so we saw a little bit of a challenge for
Pedersen had a bit of a struggle, didn't he? Yeah, so we're still waiting for Jesper Pedersen to make his way up in the ski lift. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast being this inaugural competition. So little things will come through to the organisers' awareness, and they can change things as years go on. But you've got to do one to see it in action, to see how it works. Maybe somebody didn't think about, the fact that we've got 2 people in a team, how long will that take? That's a thought process for next time. Maybe it should be a minimum of 3 so you can keep the competition moving. However, there are nations that don't have a lot of people, so
that's why we're doing this as a test event now, just to iron out all those little inconsistencies.
30 seconds away now, I'm hearing.
One thing to mention that for the snow condition may have changed from when we first started. As the sun goes down, actually the air gets a lot colder and it could be getting a bit icier, so that'll make it tougher for the racers. a lot harder to get the edges in and trickier to do those fast turns.
Here we go then. You see the gates flashing. That tells us we're nearly ready. It's go for Pedersen. Victory puts Team Norway in the final. They might be small but mighty. They've only got 2, but they've got 1 point on the board in this. Bordanks to keep France in this. In Morzine, Pedersen looking strong, looking determined. Bordanks is breaking gates as he goes. Has he got any more? No, he clashes and hits the timing part at the bottom as well. It's a big hit for Bordanks, who waves the pole around in the air. Well, he nearly damaged the Norway hopes. He's definitely damaged the finish. The ski has left the prosthetic, as you can see. He's absolutely fine. He's a wonderful character, Manuel Bordanks. I'll tell you what, he's just given the crowd something they'll remember. Hey, do you remember that Manuel Bordanks destroying the course?
Absolutely. I'm hoping that little bit of black that skidded off down the snow isn't part of his prosthetic again.
Wow. Good hats, silly hats, and a man waving in the crowd is what we've got as well. I'm hoping we're going to take a look back at the finish of that one in just a moment. Here we go, and let's take a look at what happened. Pedersen on the right, he was closing, but here he's gone too wide, trips on the gate.
He just got a little bit late coming round that left footer, and it just caught him out there. It's pretty tight round those last turns.
Didn't seem to bother him, did it, when he was lying on the floor? All of the timing equipment goes flying. I think any sensible people at home know we're going to have a little delay now.
Slight delay.
Bordanks destroys the finish line, but I tell you what, he was closing it. I'm not sure he had enough, but he was certainly made it tight.
No, but the effort he put into that was brilliant to see. You know, you could see he was right on the edge, right on the limit, and he just couldn't quite get the right foot is his prosthetic leg, I think, and that one he just couldn't quite get the control to whip the skis round as quickly as possible.
And this is what we were talking about, the sense of feeling with the right leg.
Exactly.
You know, he didn't know to push off a little bit more perhaps and need to turn, and that's what we've seen is that he knew he was going to miss the gate. All of a sudden he's trying to turn again actually. But there you go, Bordanks has brought us to a halt. This is it from the balcony angle. Yeah, just right through the middle. That's how we saw it first time.
Couldn't quite get it, but what a finish.
Oh yeah, and the thing is here, Pedersen and Norway have knocked out the favourites. Tell you what, Marcus Nilsson Glasgow, he must be very delighted to be on the Norwegian team right now with Jesper Pedersen marauding his way through and destroying people. So great stuff. Pedersen and Marcus Nilsson Glasgow. Imagine if he was to come out of this, his first ever World Cup campaign, as the inaugural winner of the team event.
That's quite a title.
Just retire. You've done it.
Yeah, and the first shock of the evening with the French #1 team going out.
Yeah, nobody expected, and that's what you get for letting me call it, by the way. Nobody expected, commentator curse strikes again. Nobody expected France to be out. Boucher and Boucher are watching from the sidelines as hard as Bordanks tried. Towards the end, he couldn't do the last few gates. So it's down to Team USA. Thomas Walsh, Andrew Kirk and Kevin Burton. Laurie Stevens, he's been around a fair while, very experienced athlete, a double Paralympic champion back from 2006. That is the team. She's the reserve out of those athletes. And they go up against Team France #2. One team's gone out against what I would have considered the favourites. Can France 2 rectify that?
I think this is going to be an interesting head-to-head actually, because they've got real strength across all of their skiers, and it could be certainly by run 3 it could be quite interesting, especially Jordan against who we got Jordan against Kevin Burton. I think that's going to be interesting, yeah.
If you want to get in touch with us, tell us what you think about the programme. Tell us what you think about this new event that's being put in for you. The lights of the town are on. The lights of Team France #1 have been put out by the Norwegians. Let us know what you think. USA are going to take on France #2. We want to hear from you. Hashtag Para Alpine. Is this not great? Is this not fantastic? I'll tell you what it is. It's very, very exciting.
And can you hear the noise noise of the crowd outside. It's brilliant.
Brilliant.
And just one consideration actually for the visually impaired skiers. Normally when we race, it's completely silent. So this is going to be something that's quite tricky and quite unusual for all the visually impaired teams. Having the background noise, having the commentary, having the music in the background. It'll be interesting to find out from the VI teams how they've coped with that.
If you've never tuned in to World Para-Alpine Skiing, the categories are vision impaired, VI, as Jen referred to them there a moment ago. We have the standing category, and then we have the sit skiers as well. Within all of those categories, there are different classifications. Athletes in the standing can have one leg, they can have one arm, they can have no arms. There is a whole raft of different classifications within each one. Again, with VI, there are 3 different categories within that one category: B1, B2, B3, B1 being the lowest vision, B3 being the highest permitted to compete. Everything's levelled out by a very complicated sum that I'm not even going to try and attempt, having failed maths at school. So it's all put together. It's all been something that's been designed over years and years. It works, and that's how they compete level against each other. We're going to be Team France to go first on the left-hand side. Thomas Walsh to go for USA, and Team France number 2 have fallen. Big moment for Delaplace on the left, and here comes Walsh. He's caught up, he's gone past, he might even take over the guide at the rate he's going. No mistakes for USA, and that's a point. Oh, Walsh. Well, I said earlier, he told me we were coming for this. This is not a joke for us, we're going for it.
That was no holds barred. He went out there from the start attacking that course and delivered right to the finish. Very impressive skiing from Thomas.
I would say that I think that that's probably the most experienced team of the lot in terms of age, actually. Walsh is 24, I think Kirk is 26, Kevin Burton is 36. So in terms of age, there's no real youngsters really in that, because Walsh has been around so long now anyway. You can forget the fact that he's 24. He's been there and seen so much. So maybe the experience and the composure of the USA will start to show through as well.
They've been to a lot of world champs together, a lot of games over the years. And did Kevin come from Nordic as well?
Yeah, he competed in Sochi in both the biathlon and the cross country as well. So it's 1-0 to the US. Next up, Kirke versus Savard. Savard didn't have a clean run first time out. Kirke gets to go first in that monoski. This is going to be a tight one. Savard on the right-hand side for Team France. They're 1 down. Kirke just fractionally ahead now, but here comes Savard. Oh, Kirkus took a wide line, and that big slide means that it's all going to be down to Kevin Burton versus Jordan Brossan, because France are level. France 2 still in the mix, just like France 1 were.
Very exciting stuff. And Andrew Kirke just couldn't quite get the rhythm there in that run. He got caught up about halfway down, made a little mistake, as you said, sliding on the snow. That meant he was low around the gate.
Once you put in a big slide on those monoskis, you've just lost that momentum. And the lower down and the more sideways you get, it's so hard to get it back.
That's right. And on such a short course, as soon as you lose momentum, that's it. That's game over, really.
Yeah, if you're on a run that's 120, 130, you've got half a chance of getting the speed back up again. This is 20 seconds, 30 seconds. It's crazy. So Team France on the left. Kevin Burton for USA on the right-hand side. So it's Jordan Brossan on the left, Burton on the right for a place in the final against Norway. I said France 1 versus USA in the final. How wrong might I be? Burton has to hold off Brossan's charge. Grimmelman is the guide for Kevin Burton, who is doing okay at the moment. Brossan is coming. This might be the tightest. Oh, and wide from Burton. He's still on the course though. No. It's a disaster for Burton. Catches the gate. He's still got it on his arm. And that is the moment that decided that semi-final. Kevin Burton shakes his head. Oh, he'll be gutted. USA really were going for it. Burton was looking very, very good. And all of a sudden he destroyed one of the gates. and it just gave the chance for Morzine to catch him.
It did, and look at the excitement from Team France. That's both teams down there so delighted that their B team have got through to the final. I don't think they would have been expecting to beat USA if, you know, at the start of the competition, so I think that'll be a delight for everybody.
I'm just writing the word wrong on my piece of paper just to epitomise how wrong I was. So what I meant was the two teams that won't get to the final will be France 1 and Team USA. Yeah, didn't get that right at all. But that's the nature of the beast.
That is, and you know, ski racing is so unpredictable. There are so many variables, and it can all go horribly wrong at a fraction of a second.
Nothing is won on paper unless you're doing a crossword.
Exactly, until you've actually crossed that finish line.
Anything like that. Well, the lights are out in many parts of Morzine. They're shining bright here on the athletes who are shining even brighter. France 2 had that moment there. On the right-hand side of your screen, that's the moment that Kevin Burton got all manner of distracted. Talk to me about a VI athlete there. All of a sudden, it's just gone wrong, and you have to try and compose yourself without really being able to see everything you want.
And it's so difficult because you've got the emotions of two of you to try and control. You've got the guide wanting to help the athlete, pull the athlete down that slope as quick as possible. And I think that they're probably taking a slightly tighter line than they would possibly on a normal giant slalom course. So it's making it, all the emotions are intensifying, and just to bring it back, bring it under control is going to be very, very difficult. And with the noise in the background as well, that hearing the commands could be tricky.
It isn't just the look at this. Yeah. Yes, that's what every sport wants, is a group of kids and a group of spectators making noise. It isn't just the spectators there. If you go something like 30 yards down further, there's actually a massive bar at the bottom of the hotel that we're all based in. Music's blaring, there's people in there singing along to songs. It's really noisy around here. It's the place to be, and this is the moment that the victory is taken. It still wasn't that far. I think that would have been super, super tight towards the end if Kevin Burton doesn't catch that.
It really would have been. You know, he did lose a little bit of time catching the gate, and I think he was unlucky in that sense, but Jordan skied really well and went for it for the French, so I think it was a well-deserved win on their part.
Well, the absolute opposite of what many of us might have thought. You can just about see our commentary box from there. We're under the letter R and E, if you want to know, on the word trampoline. In fact, you can just about make out Jen's waving. You can see her through the window. He's not looking. He doesn't care. He's too busy watching the action out there. There we are. Look, there we go. We're on the screen. Brilliant. We've got more action to come, but let's go and hear from the dream team, we're going to call them from now on. They're on the snowfer. It's Stephen and Mena.
Welcome back to the snowfer here at the bottom of the hill. The semi-finals are all done. I've still got Mena with me. I've still got Alana. Guys, this is so much fun. There's a real atmosphere down here. We're having an absolute blast. Let's talk first about that first semi-final, because the French dream team are out. Bochet, they're gone, and this is a big surprise, but what a ski from Jesper Pedersen.
Well, watching Jesper ski was amazing. He did 2 runs for that heat, and he did awesome. It was basically right off the lift and right into the gate. So to see that, he laid down an awesome run.
And there was absolute drama as well with Manuel crashing into that final finish gate. This is what we talked about at the start, though. This sort of race lends itself to that last-second drama, and skiing can come down to hundredths of seconds, but when it's put in front of you 1v1, that's when this is when it gets really fun.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's skiing as hard as they possibly can, and it's right on the edge, and sometimes you fall over that edge and sometimes you don't, but everyone's skiing really well and to the best of their ability, and it is so much fun to be here watching it and feeling their emotion in their skiing.
Yeah, for sure. And Alana, we've got a massive crowd down here as well. It feels like a huge event, and I know you've skied at World Championships, Paralympics. How much of a difference does it make when you're on the slope and you can see the crowd below? Does it give you that little bit of an extra buzz?
It definitely does. Like when you can hear the crowd or you can see them, it makes you push a little bit harder. It's definitely a skill to learn. Some people are more nervous with the crowd, but it's definitely a skill to learn to perform on demand, and this is a great place to learn.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is a test event after all. This is something we're not taking too seriously, but I try telling that to the skiers, right? They will be going absolutely hammer and tongue for this. We've already seen this so far. This France BI team, Menno, let's talk about those, because as a BI skier, you've been rooting for them all night. Delaplace and Savad, they've come through despite some real difficulties with the glare on the snow. I know you said to me off air that's an issue. They're doing amazing.
Yeah, they're doing really well. The connection between the guide and the VI has to be spot on, and the communication, especially when it starts to get dark, as you can see with the floodlights making like a shadow and light contrast about halfway down. You've really got to be brave and powerful enough and trust yourself that you can properly go for it. And yeah, and they just did it, and they proved that VIs can really do it in the parallel slalom, which I'm very excited to get involved in later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always talk about the fearlessness you've got to have to be a skier. I mean, when you do downhill, no matter what you do, when you do slalom, you're taking your life into your own hands in many ways, so you're going so quickly. But when you have that VI element to it as well, man, especially in the dark, there's so much trust there in your guide. And I know you and Jen in particular have a very special relationship off the course as well as on it. Talk to me a little bit about just how much trust you need to have, because it goes beyond a standard human level, right?
Yeah, you can't really describe it to someone. It's kind of like a sixth sense in a way. You've got to know exactly where the person is behind you, and that's for the guide, not for me. But yeah, and you've got to trust, even if Jen says something different, then you still know what she means and what's going to happen. And yeah, you've just really got to trust the person, and you can't really put it into words.
Okay then, I'm going to put you both on the spot. Norway or France? Who wins the final? Alana?
I don't know, I kind of want to go with Norway. Jasper's been skiing awesome, and since he has to do 2 heats, I really hope he pulls through.
Okay, Mana?
I've got to go for the France and back the VIs.
Okay, strap yourselves in, ladies and gents. We've got our hot chocolates down here, keeping us nice and toasty. This is going to be good. It's over to the final. Back to you, Alan and Jen.
Well, we're going to have third and fourth place playoff. They called it the little final when I was in a meeting the other day. Third and fourth place playoff is sufficient, I believe. So third and fourth place players, and well, we still get the dream tie that we thought we were going to get. So France won versus USA in the little final. Chance to come third, I suppose, is still on the table. As Stephen has just done with the ladies down there, I'm going to do exactly the same with you. Put you under pressure. France won versus USA. Where would you say?
France 1 versus USA. Ooh, I'm actually going to back the French.
Look at that team there.
Yeah.
It's oozing with quality, isn't it?
I'm going to back the French. Yeah, so, I think they've got a good chance to win it. They've been skiing really strongly, all three of them, and I think they'll also be hungry for it, having been knocked out of the big final.
Oh, they got rid of Japan with ease in the first round. They went out against Norway in the second. As for the USA, well, it was a victory against a fairly strong Nordic team, it has to be said, in the opening round. Walsh, Kirker and Burton. Stevens is their reserve at the moment. It'll be interesting to see whether she comes in here in this third place battle, whether one of the guys maybe picked up a knock or not. And they were beaten eventually by the team of France 2. So it's USA versus France 1 in a few moments' time. Mena was talking about trust from her perspective. Tell me about the guide when it comes to VI. What's your job? In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Tough question. In a nutshell, it's my responsibility to show Mena the way down the slope or the course safely by painting a picture for her of what's coming up ahead. And I do that by describing what I'm seeing and feeling under my skis, trying to get that in condensed code back to her as quickly as I can and effectively, which, as Mena kindly alluded to, doesn't always go right. But where that trust comes in is that you train together for many, many hours, and you build up that knowledge, so that even if one of you does make a mistake, actually you can overcome it and just power on through. We don't use left and right because I do tend to confuse them sometimes.
I turned my mic off to laugh at you there, just for a
Thanks,
brief
thanks.
second.
I see how this relationship is going.
Well, you actually said it. That's
I did.
It wasn't,
I know.
wasn't me. I didn't bring it up. Right. So we've got to change to the start list. So we're going to receive that in just a couple of moments. It does mean that we've got a little bit more of a delay, but it does look fantastic down there. You can see the crowd at the bottom. The course now is fully lit. And it's been set on fire by some great performances so far. Okay, so we've talked about the little final, if you like. Let's talk about the big final. As Menno was saying there, she's rooting for the VI guys in that French number 2 team. Very impressive to see out there VI skiers going against standing or sitting skiers and being victorious.
Absolutely, and I mean the factor system is there for a reason, and I think it is fairly effective, so it's great to see them going out and able to perform alongside the standing athletes and really giving it their all. I think I'm definitely going to stick with my teammates and back the French in both the big and the little final.
Well,
it might be all eggs in one basket, but that's what I'm going with.
I'm predicting nothing because that clearly didn't go right for me early doors.
I'll have to borrow your pen and write wrong on my side. Hopefully not, but
they've mixed it up a bit here, the Americans. It looks like that Walsh is going to go in the 3rd leg and Burton's going to go in the 1st leg. So that's an interesting one. I think maybe they've put Burton against Boucher to see how well he can do. If that's a defeat, Walsh against Bordanks should give Walsh a slight advantage. We've watched the World Cup season this year. We know how good Thomas Walsh is. We know that Manuel is learning still. He's still fairly new. That's what makes parasport interesting as far as I'm concerned. I've been lucky enough to cover many parasports across all of the spectrums, from swimming to powerlifting, goalball, all these sort of things. And got a dog on the course at the moment. That'll be good. Age actually doesn't matter. When it comes to parasport, you can have take Joseph Lana in the World Championships for Austria. You know, we talked about the Aigners coming through in the women's division. Joseph Lana came from absolutely nowhere in the World Champs and nearly came away with a gold medal. He was well into his 30s.
Yep, age doesn't make much of a difference in this sport, and I mean we've had a few retirees this year, but there are certainly recently there have been plenty of athletes who are over 40 and even into their 50s still competing, perhaps not going for the top spot, but certainly competitive.
Yeah, Guido Morzine in his 50s, only debuting last year in Austria, in his home country, and then of course making it to the Paralympics as well. And again, he nearly came away with a Paralympic medal. So that was goes to show, and he was well into his 50s. So it's interesting. I think that's what makes it very different in its dynamics, that you can just have a 16-year-old who's had an impairment for 16 years against a 40-year-old who's had an impairment for 3 years. You know, doesn't matter.
And I think in the visually impaired category as well, because it's a team event in itself, actually, yes, the talent of the 2 skiers together and the visually impaired skier on their own is important, but it's how well you work as a team. And if that teamwork isn't there, you know, we see it time and again, that race, it kind of falls apart. So yeah, it's a really, really interesting sport from that perspective.
Talk to me about this lady. I mean, she's obviously a legend already within the sport. 8 Paralympic gold medals, 19 World Championship gold medals. Only turned 25 this year, which is another remarkable number within those little stats I was giving you. But she's a great ambassador for parasport as well.
She really is. She gives 110% to her training and to competition. I think she epitomises professionalism on the circuit, and I think she's certainly somebody that I've looked up to. And when Menna and I are training and racing, we look at how far off our time is from Marie, and if we have closed the gap on her time, that for us is a really good day in the office. So it's not just the standing women who look up to her, it's across the field. She's really well respected and really well liked.
And quite rightly so as well. As you say, the numbers of medals that she wins, you know, you can't help but coming through in the French team perhaps and thinking, this is great, I've got this lady here who is an inspiration. Not only is she an inspiration, I can learn something from her straight away. I'm right next to her. People like Ami Hondo we saw earlier on, you know, she tries and tries and tries, and sometimes you feel like she's got a little bit quicker and then kind of go back in a backward step. But to be competing against somebody like that, you have to take that as a positive.
Yeah, it's, you know, having Marie there really pulls the sport forward. It gives people a target to aim for, and I think it progresses the sport.
Very similar to Henrietta Farkasova as well. Obviously, you guys have come through in the era where she's kind of like the dominant force, if you like. But all of a sudden now, people are starting to pick off victories. It's only a year ago yesterday that you guys were jumping around in Pyeongchang. I remember it very, very well.
Our golden anniversary.
So you know, all of a sudden, you know, that's an interesting thing. You guys you've got that medal all of a sudden where you can go, right, I'm not always going to finish behind. Where do I go next?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of the psychology of this sport, which is it plays such an important role, that actually being able to beat somebody, even if it's only once, it means that they are beatable, and so you can go in feeling confident that every time you go up against them, you might be able to beat them, and trust in your training.
Well, my understanding was that the little final was going to go first, but that is quite clearly Jesper Pedersen getting himself ready and psyched up to go. He's going to go off against Gijsert de la Place first, then it'll be Savard versus Nilsson Grasto, and Jesper Pedersen will then be back to go against Jordan Brossan.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual.
It's going all the way, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I wouldn't like to put my money on who's going to take that. It's going to be tough for Pedersen, having done 2 extra runs already compared to the other ones, and he's got 2 more to do to win this. But we shall see. I'm not predicting.
It's very much a test event and a first time for all of us, and as I said, my opinion was that we were going to show the small final first, i.e. the 3rd and 4th place, before the big final, but at the moment I think there's a little air of confusion for perhaps those people up the top there who maybe never done it before. These guys aren't confused, they've come to support France, maybe not the legends of France in the final that they thought, but at least they're going to get a team to cheer on. Jesper Pedersen is huge when it comes to the sit ski. He just makes me laugh. He's got such a great smile, hasn't he?
He's another lovely guy on the tour, you know, happy, chappy, chat to anybody, and really, really positive. He's a great person to have on the tour.
Just waiting for confirmation.
So the board's still saying small final?
Yeah, but it's definitely Norway versus France in the big final. So we're just giving ourselves a little breather there to get some information. That lady, by the way, on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is the lady that's creating all of the stories and Instagram posts. This is Lena on the bottom right of your screen, although he looks a lot more happy, doesn't he? She's concentrating, to be fair.
Concentrating hard, probably same as us, trying to work out what is happening at the moment.
Bless them. Well, they've got it right because they've pulled Jesper Pedersen away. And we've got USA now into the starting block, so we're absolutely on board. Everybody's happy again. It is going to be USA versus France #1. That's where we were going. This is Kevin Burton.
And you can just see, you might have noticed on the screen, that actually the bars that the athletes are pushing off from are adjustable, so that's to make it fair for the sitting athletes and the standing athletes, so that they can get a good push off from the start.
Yeah, what you mean by that is they can be raised up and down. They can also go back and forth a little bit as well.
Exactly.
There you go. You do get problems within sport. This is not unique. I'm casting my mind back to only a year ago in Pyeongchang. Major issues when snowboard made its bow in the snow cross, and all of a sudden the gates just wouldn't work. They'd worked all day, and then all of a sudden they just stopped working, and we ended up going back some 30 years and holding bits of rubber and elastic across the starts to let the athletes go. So it isn't unique. This is not a one-time only deal. Sport is sport. Technology within snow and water and places like that doesn't always like it, you know. Thomas Walsh chatting away. He's happy up there. Kevin Burton is the guy that has to be waiting. And you get this, and this is another thing you guys have to cope with. All of a sudden, you're at the gate. You're like, yes, it's me. Just wait.
Exactly.
You've got to deal with it.
It's something we train for. Our coach, John Clark, has put us through some fairly painful training sessions where he's set a course and it comes over the radio, oh, we've got a 10-minute delay because XYZ has finished, timing gear, and it's to simulate that the stop-start nature of our sport, so that you're not surprised on race day.
Now, we were led to believe that it would be Marie Bochet against Kevin Burton, but that's definitely Kevin Burton. We haven't seen the French athlete just yet. Just waiting for a moment. There you can see Bochet just in the background on the left-hand side, the pink helmet. Andrew Kirker and Jesper Pedersen are more than happy just chatting away on the left. So plenty of cameras knocking around, plenty of people still milling in. There's always a man with a bell. Always a man with a bell, which actually is quite nice to hear, because when, as I said earlier, with the visually impaired race, normally you don't have any noise at all, which particularly for the B1 category it's so important, because they get down the slope by hearing the sound from their guides. Yeah, this would be interesting with Maria Zatovikova and Marek.
I mean, I think they'd find it very difficult. Yeah, I think it'd be really difficult.
They fully rely on the sound.
Slalom is hard for them anyway, and so this kind of pressure would be really difficult.
Tell you what though, they would have a 3-person strong VI team if they were all at full strength, wouldn't they? If you took
the Slovakian, yes,
Kraus and Farkasova, they'd have a very good 3 VIs.
They would, and I'd be interested to see how far ahead Marek and Maria would go because of the factor system, because the B1 has a very big factor, so they'd probably actually get halfway down the course before the competitor.
There you go. And that, again, for future events, this may well come through.
All exciting stuff.
Absolutely. So these guys have done us all proud, and they're sticking around to watch the action. They've got a French team in the final. It might not have been the French team they were expecting. Bochet and Bordanks, the 3 Bs, if you like. They are going to go, but only in the small final. Here is the great Marie Bochet. Big fan of crochet and knitting is Marie. Does a lot of work for charity in her spare time as well. She was talking to me about her commitments away from the tour after it finishes, and she said, I've got 4 days between the end of the tour and the start of June where I'm at home. I was like, you're not racing, so I don't know. That's what it is. I'm just not at home. She's more at home on the snow, and that's exactly where she is now. On the left-hand side then, Team France 1 would have been expecting to be in the final against Team USA, who perhaps would have been expected to be in the final. They're in a little final. Kevin Burton will go first. He and Kurt Grimmelman will get underway. A big wait for Boucher. Can she close down on the 36-year-old who is being guided to a lead at halfway? She's coming.
She's going for it. She is absolutely going for it, but it's going to be close.
Final 3 gates. Boucher is coming. Oh, it's so tight. That is so tight. There is a massive groan around the Morzine venue. The arms are raised for Burton. He thinks he's taken it. And the system says Burton. Kevin Burton looks like he's took the victory. The board outside our window says USA have won it, and they have. The official result is in. Burton has snatched it, but how close was that?
That was a photo finish. It was brilliant. Very exciting to see both athletes giving it their all, and that was much better from Burton, much cleaner, and he was able to navigate all of the gates without crashing.
Well, this is Burton getting himself down the run and out of the shot at the moment. But if there she comes flying in, we'll get a better angle of that in a moment. But Boucher was very, very exciting. So the main finals first run is coming in a moment. Here we go then. Let's take a look at this. Burton gets the victory. Just how close was it? Oh, well done to the timing people for getting that one right. How tight could it have been? Well, first leg then of the big final. This is Jesper Pedersen on the left-hand side. Sit skier versus Hyacinth Delaplace, VI skier on the right side. And it's Pedersen who goes away first, then Delaplace. So there's not a great deal of a gap between them. Delaplace being guided by Maxime Jourdain. Pedersen pushing hard. Oh, Pedersen is going to take first blood. The ski is off for Savard. Savard has got to come good in the second leg here. Otherwise, Norway are going to come away on a canter. Delaplace is down. Norway are one up.
They are, and I didn't actually see what happened for his ski to pop off, but I imagine he will have just got caught going around a gate, and just the pressure popped it off. Hopefully we can see it.
Well, this is excellent drama. Here is Hyacinth Delaplace. Talk us through this.
So that was it's really unlucky. He just put a lot of pressure going into that turn. As you can see, he was absolutely going for it, and the ski just popped off. It happened to Menna and I in the race in La Molina, and there is nothing you can do about it.
So USA lead 1-0 in the small final. The big French team, the France #1 team, needs Arthur Boucher to come up with the goods. And what an opponent he's got in Andrew Kirker.
They have indeed. I think both of them are going to be probably a little nervous at the start there, looking at.
Oh, I don't know. Andrew Kirker doesn't strike me as somebody who ever gets nervous. No.
I think everybody does when you're in the start gate.
Maybe. We'll
ask
him. In fact, I'll ask him on
after.
day 0, which is the last day of the entire tour, and we'll see what he says. Okay, right-hand side here, Arthur Boucher is very much on course to winning the overall World Cup medal in the men's standing event, of course. He and Theo Remeur have had their tussles. They've been classing it, they've called it themselves a war, and each one of them picking off a battle each time round. You guys would have felt like that with Mel Perrine this season as well. You know, you were there in front, and then all of a sudden the Australians are there, and you're back again. That must be how it feels a little bit, although you seem to have much more of a friendship about it.
I don't think we'd use the term war, but there has definitely
a minor skirmish.
A minor skirmish, yeah, a small battle.
A small final.
A small final, yeah. No, it's been great actually having that competition. That we were a little bit worried that Mel and Bobby were not going to come back from Australia for funding reasons towards the end of the season, but they did, and we are very glad to have them back.
So Team France on the right, Kirker for USA on the left gets to go, and it really is difficult for those Sitskis to get out of that gate. And again, they're the changes that might come in the future. But Arthur Balche needs to beat Andrew Kirker, and I think that's going to be the scenario. Now Balche's just got to keep it on course here. He's got ahead. Kirker isn't giving up. Balche tricky into the final three, but the Frenchman takes it. We're level in the small final.
And that blue course is getting quite rutted now. You can just see Andrew Kirker bouncing up and down on some of those gates as those ruts begin to develop.
All that's left to come in that one is Bordanks versus Walsh, so it's standing versus standing, but we'll have the second of the big final in a moment. But Balche looked very good there, no nerves, had a game plan, get to the line, and that's what he achieved.
Yep, no, it's solid from top to bottom.
Now I said during that run, Savard will now know he has to go big here. Thomas Savard has to find something huge. He is going against the youngster in this Norwegian team, Markus Nilsson Grasto. He's on the verge of taking a gold medal with Team Norway in the inaugural team final in his first World Cup campaign at just 17.
That's a lot of pressure on both of the youngsters, actually, so it'll be interesting to see if any uncharacteristic mistakes come out.
Well, Savani's only 17 as well, so yeah, you're absolutely spot on. The two of them experiencing something they will never have experienced ever before. The man with no ski poles on the right is Nilsson Grasto of Norway. The gap doesn't look to be closing, and as we run out of gates, he'll run out of time, and we are going to 1-1 in the big final. Oh yes!
Brilliant. And it looked like the French pair had a little bit of a problem coming out the gate there. The guide got a bit caught up and didn't quite get away ahead of his teammate.
Well, Savard takes the second race, and you can see as they come to the line, he's a couple of gates ahead, so it's nice and comfortable, and wasn't that enjoyed?
Yeah, that's great for the French team. The fans will be loving it.
Say just 17, that's a big moment. He and Kervan Lamé have really enjoyed that, and you saw Lamé just wailing his arms around at the end. It doesn't just mean something for the athlete, does it? It's like VI running in athletics. You both get that medal. It means something to you.
Absolutely, it's a team. You're both athletes, even if one you're called athlete and guide. You're both training as hard as each other, working as hard and working together to get over that finish line as fast as possible.
Right then, evenly poised. It's brilliant in both. One apiece in the small final, one apiece in the big final. This is exactly what we wanted.
It's
USA
so
on the right, Walsh going up against Bordanks. Away they go together then. It's a pure, flat-out race. Thomas Walsh and Manuel Bordanks, won't mind me saying this, but they are both capable of huge crashes when they want them. They don't want them today, and Walsh has an edge, but only just. Bordanks is doing so well here. Walsh will get to the line. USA are third, and Thomas Walsh is greeted by his teammates, Kevin Burton and Grimmelman. Here comes Andrew Kirker as well. There's the sportsmanship that we see. I'll tell you what, Bordanks has put in an effort there.
What a race. I mean, at one point there, I thought that Bordanks was going to come back and actually take it from Walsh, but Walsh stepped it up a gear towards the end.
And that is what the game is all about. At no point this season has Manuel Bordanks been anywhere near Thomas Walsh in the finishing standings. You put a different element out to it, and people just go.
Exactly. It's that head-to-head element. It pushes you harder. And also the team atmosphere. It's not, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your teammates as well, and for the pride of your nation. It's brilliant.
Well, reach for the stars and you have to break through the ceiling. Reach for the ceiling and you've already got a problem. He is reaching for the stars quite nicely, is Thomas Walsh. Jesper Pedersen is a man who is carrying the hopes of Norway on his shoulders. The big one, the final race of the night. Jordan Brossan will know that he's got to chase down a Paralympic sit-ski champion, a young man that had heart problems right after Pyeongchang, really really hindered his progress going into the World Champs this year, but he could be the winner of the big final with Norway. He's had a little bit of a problem halfway, but he is on cruise control. It's Pedersen with 1 to go, and he takes it. Morzine was getting closer, but Team Norway are victors. There might only have been 2 of them, but weren't they brilliant?
What a fantastic finish, and Jordan was skiing brilliant. He was chasing him down, but he just could not catch Jasper Pedersen on the blue course.
Fantastic stuff. There you see Marcus Nilsson Grasto as well, and Jesper Pedersen has done well, double the amount of runs of everybody else, but he doesn't look like he minds. I tell you what, I don't know if you realised just how close the Frenchman was towards the end. It would have been too late to do anything about it when he took a look around.
He had a cheeky look, yeah.
He did have a cheeky look, and then the raise of the arms that came for the champion. Morzine gives the French number 2 team a second place finish, and they've enjoyed it.
They were. That wait in the start gate for Morzine must have been agonising.
Well, we're looking at the crowd at the bottom who have enjoyed that. I think they were hoping for French success. Both of those teams looked very, very good. Maybe we were surprised at how good the French second team were. USA managed to get themselves 3rd place. I tell you what, the quality that was in that France number 1 team did not expect to finish 4th. No, nobody thought about that.
Definitely not. As you said, I think the fans will be slightly disappointed, but they've had a fantastic show from all of the athletes, and that's what it's all about, showcasing our sport to make para-alpine skiing as exciting as possible.
Well, that does indeed bring us to a conclusion. All of the medals and everything are going to be done a little bit elsewhere from the course. First thing I'm going to do is thank Stephen and Mena downstairs. Brilliant from them on the Snowfer, and Samson the dog as well. Lana Ramsey, thank you to her for joining us. Jen Keogh, thank you very much for being with us in the commentary box. Have you enjoyed that?
Alan. I have. I've loved it. Thank you very much.
You know tomorrow you've got to get up really early and go and throw yourself down the mountain again.
But it's great watching. I'm G'd up. I'm ready to go.
She is ready. We're all ready. 2 more days of slalom to come in the Alpine World Cup final. Make sure you join us. We are racing from 9. Good night.